by the Dunkin' Donut shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
$8.12
I wasn't paying attention.
You know, Peter's down in the lower window there. He opened up the mics ready for the 8:30.
Yeah.
And I held out
You could have talked over the rest.
Yeah, but that ended at the quarter of, which that worked out good.
I didn't even notice. I'm sorry.
Thanks for paying attention.
You haven't said a
remming.
half in so long.
I was remming. Sorry.
Remming, REM, rapid eye movement.
Remming, yes. You do that during the day, too, you know.
I see a lot of people down here doing that during the day.
It's true. It's healthy for you. Remming is healthy.
You know where we didn't do any remming?
Where didn't you? I'm afraid to ask. When
The,
you segue, I never know where it's going to go. So tell me, Ken.
The 2 graduations, there was no remming.
I know.
It could have been.
Peter and I worked them.
I know.
Yeah.
Every year we have this battle with the sun.
Yep. Tech Academy, last minute decision. It was
the right decision.
It was last minute
was
because
late.
it had to be made last minute.
Right, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do it inside. And we're watching outside. We're like, okay, it's nice. 10 minutes till the end. Nice. And then it got wet.
I saw
A lot of wet.
A lot of wet. So the right call was made for Thursday night to move it into the auditorium, which wasn't horrible. Each grad got 4 tickets. There were some empty seats up in the balcony. So it's not like this is a situation where, well, geez, ticket holders couldn't get in. Mm-hmm. So 725 is the max up there, 720, 725-ish, I think.
Now that's the upper campus here.
Yeah.
Did they redo that? Did they?
They refreshed it 20 years ago, but
Nah, I was close to that, I think. Oh, maybe.
yeah.
I loved that auditorium.
As Zaporowski once said a few years ago, it's the coldest, largest open space, public in the town, and he's right. That auditorium is a meat locker. It's cold.
Interesting. I don't remember it being that way, but
Well, they have a new AC. Well, new-ish AC up there.
gotcha. That's where I went to high school.
Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah, there-
And your mother did too, so don't you make fun of me, buddy. Don't you make fun of me. Here it comes. It's coming.
You still had a house on top of that building back then. And,
Yes, we did.
And you had portable classrooms back then.
No, I was I didn't have the portable classrooms. I was pre-portable classrooms. Those
Oh.
didn't come into later.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, because that's when they were they doing double classes then?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's when they came in, and that wasn't until what, 72 maybe?
Okay, so that was
71?
really seven. No, that was one of the reasons why we were forced to build a new high school, wasn't it? Just the population?
I have no idea. You think I remember? I was a kid then. I was teaching school already. So
Well, you're you know what? You're Westfield's historian.
well,
Class is in
must have
session.
been later than
It's
72.
Westfield historian extraordinaire Kathy Palmer.
89.5.
72 or
WSKB.
73.
All right.
They did, yeah.
All right.
And that's when they built, and I think of it as the new high school.
And the double classes, that means there were 2 different sessions every day.
There were, and we had
Yeah.
double classrooms also when they built the junior high.
You okay in there, Pete?
Oh, my
I'm
God.
hearing all types of noises in my monitor here.
Oh, my God. I'm sneezing my head off. Whew.
Oh, allergies are terrible.
Yep.
So double classes.
We had, when they built the high school on Smith Avenue here in 37 or 38, then the building downtown that was the old high school, and before that it was the academy, that became the intermediate school. Not the intermediate now, but the intermediate then, and it was grades 7 and 8, and that's what closed down all of your one-room schoolhouses around the periphery because they siphoned off the older kids, so they just closed the other classrooms, the small ones. So that became the intermediate, and then they had to build a new intermediate in 1962. That's the one on.
That's the one
Silver
down
Street.
there.
Yep.
mhm.
The one on Silver Street. Is it West Silver? No, East Silver Street.
No,
West
that's
Silver
west.
Street.
Yep.
Because Bob is on West Silver Street. So, and then we had double sessions for that too.
Right.
And that was a killer.
And double sessions for folks who weren't around then. I know we've had the discussion. What were they?
Well, I was in the morning, so I was there from like 7 in the morning to 12 or 1 in the afternoon, and then the afternoon session came in. It was just, it's what it sounds like. It was 2 complete educational sessions for certain populations, and you were either in the morning or the afternoon. The problem with it is that once you do that, you cut out any kind of after-school shows or programs at all. You can't do any athletics because you've got an afternoon session going till 6 o'clock.
How did lunches and things like that come into play with that?
Oh, we didn't have a cafeteria. We had cold lunches. You ate them in
There
the
was a
classroom.
cafeteria up here.
We did not have one when I was in the intermediate.
Oh, intermediate.
Yeah, we
Okay,
did.
yeah.
I don't know about up here because I wasn't in that.
Yeah.
That had.
Because it seems like, okay, well, you have a morning session and an afternoon session. Well, go home for lunch, and before you come to school, have lunch. Right?
I'm thinking we didn't have lunch, but then again, I don't really remember. I just remember.
And if you do,
one
how do you have it
session.
for one session
And we
and the
weren't
other?
there for that long. We only had the double sessions until January, and then we carried all of our books from the intermediate on Broad Street and all walked down to the new junior high. Now today, oh my God in heaven, you couldn't make children do that. They don't do those sort of things. That's too hard for them to do, poor little kiddies.
I've taken my bike from, you know where I grew up on the north side,
You-
down,
I just say,
down to the middle school.
Yeah, I know. I walked, and I lived above Highland School, so I wasn't that far away. I was just a tiny bit. I was like 2 houses down from the limit for the busing. So I had to walk every day. And I walked to the high school, but I didn't.
I think waiting outside for the bus in the wintertime, it's not dangerous. I think it builds character. I mean, it toughens you up a little.
When I went to Holy Cross in Springfield, right? Everybody was expected to go to Cathedral. So Holy Cross is about a mile or so from Cathedral. And it was a rite of passage for the 7th graders or 8th graders before the end of school year to walk from Holy Cross for the day to Cathedral and tour Cathedral and sit in classes and things like that, and then walk back and get your bus. You didn't be bused a mile. The 8th graders just walked over with their teachers.
We used to.
Nowadays, it's like, oh my God, you need a
Yeah, you
police
can't do
escort.
that. We had to walk to Cross Street Playground for gym because in the old intermediate on Broad Street, we didn't have a gym. So we
No,
walked,
I know, because that's the old courthouse next to the police department, right?
Yep.
That building, yeah.
Yep. We walked to Cross Street for gym, and then in the winter, we walked to the Westfield YMCA.
Which was on Elm Street, right?
Court
at that time?
Street. No,
Oh,
no,
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 okay.
No. It was on Court Street. The one on Elm Street, that was like 19.
What a time suck, all that walking.
Yeah, well, that's why we didn't have the obesity we have today. We had to walk a lot of places. Kids today don't do that. Kids today sit, and I'm not disparaging kids today, and I'm not disparaging their video skills, and you're even part of that generation with all the video skills and the tech.
We picked it up on our own, though. It's
Did you
not.
see what I did there?
It's not native.
See what I did there?
That tech, yes. Video games, sure. In elementary, I did the Atari 2600, but,
The what?
The original Atari.
the original Atari.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, all that. Pac-Man was horrible. Dong, 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 dong.
I like Tempest.
We had those handheld games with a little round silver ball that you had to get into the holes. That was it. That was it for my
Yeah, I played with an abacus.
Yeah.
Nintendo, the original Nintendo came out, and I had just about lost interest in it, and my time was spent outside and doing things.
I played outside a lot. Peter, did you?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
God, yeah.
outside all day.
Every day.
Which
We had
is-
friends that lived about a mile away. We'd ride our bikes over to their house after school and play football all the afternoon, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
There's
Oh,
nothing
God,
to ride your bike a couple of miles in a day.
Yep.
And did we tell our parents?
My parents had no idea where the hell I was.
My parents knew where I was. My mom knew where I was. Because I was with my. See, the thing is my brother's 21 months apart from me, And our friends were about the same distance apart, so we got along great. I mean, it was pretty much the same two sets of brothers. You know what I mean? So we did a lot of stuff together. Sometimes they'd come over our house, but generally we'd go over their house because they had a very quiet street. We could play football in front of their house all afternoon.
You know, and my brother and I were 3 years, and it was just enough where, he wants to watch Fraggle Rock. I want to ride my bike halfway across the city. So, I was hanging out on train tracks. I was investigating abandoned buildings and homes and finding a water hole to fish in. I mean, parents had no idea what I was doing.
I spent a lot
You
of
were
time
a right little
out in the
Huckleberry
woods.
fan.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time out in the woods. Where I grew up, the woods now it's Isabel Gardens, but it went all the way down from Granville Road. It was all wooded all the way down to Little River.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time out there.
Building forts in woods.
Yeah.
Did that. I had a hatchet. I was chopping down trees
And we had jackknives.
Yeah.
And cat
I carried one to school.
Yes,
I had a.
too. I did too.
And-
That
yeah.
little tiny black one.
No, mine was like.
I had this. I loved my little.
It had
pen-
brass ends and a wooden handle, and kept it right in my back pocket.
We could have knives, and the cap.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were
I'm so OG. I carried a knife to school.
I know. And I
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
I always cut myself on it, and my mother never said, "Oh, take that away. It's too dangerous. You're going to get hurt."
Now I'm just.
Always use those.
Now I'm having flashbacks thinking about school now, and with the crocodile when the Crocodile Dundee stuff came out, I'm sure we were all comparing our knives out in the
the
playground.
knives.
That's a
That's a
knife.
knife.
That's a knife.
You're right. You're right.
Am I right?
Absolutely correct. 100%.
You need to boost that clip.
I know.
Oh no, we don't.
I know. I'm keeping everything maxed right now, and maybe when I redo.
No, boost that single clip.
I
'Cause
know.
It's always been low.
I know.
Audition plus 3dB, you're all set.
I know. Oh, you know what? Assign volume level. Oh, it's all the way up. I can't.
Right.
I have to go in there with
Absolutely correct.
I have to go in there with
Good one,
Audacity
Peter.
or Audition to do that.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I've been trying to tell you for a
Absolutely
year.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it gets buried.
Yeah.
You were talking about walking when I was in Highland School. With my friends, we used to walk downtown all the time. Now, I don't know that you would let elementary kids walk that far nowadays, would you?
Sure you would.
I walk down from the hill to
I
watch.
wouldn't do it alone.
I walk down from the hill to downtown to watch Newberry's burn down.
I remember that when Newberry's. Well, I remember when the professional building burned. I got you on that one because that was 1952, January.
Wasn't even a twinkle in my twinkle.
Go for it. What are you going to say? I know it's killing you.
Well, it couldn't have been an electrical fire because we didn't even have electricity back then, did we?
He's so
Ooh.
burned. I don't know what it was. I think it was careless smoking. I don't know what the cause of that fire was,
Yeah.
but it was terrible. We lost 7 people in that fire, and then we passed a new ordinance that we could not have buildings higher than the fire engine ladders could go because that was the problem.
You and Pete talk amongst yourselves. Something's irritating me that's been changed.
Something is irritating him, Peter. Peter, I thought he had a list.
What is he irritating?
I don't know, but I think he's got a. Oh,
Why are
I
you
know.
closing the things?
He has to fix the shades
Oh.
because they weren't all even, so they have to be even.
They weren't all even.
That used to
and,
drive
well,
me crazy.
Only one was open.
Well, in school we had shades going all.
Well, they were
along
all
the edges,
closed yesterday.
and some of them were broken, so they wouldn't all. I couldn't get them the same height. That drove me crazy.
I never closed them.
I don't know. Somebody closed all of them.
Well, they should have reopened them.
Maybe they were
Whoever
cleaning
closed it didn't reopen.
Yeah.
Could have been. It could have been all the kids that were goofing off here on my day off on Friday.
Leave the place as you found it.
I know.
So graduation.
Yeah, that's what we were getting. So, Yeah, Tech Academy graduation. I think it went over well.
And my Lindsay was second honors.
Yeah, we had a, she got called up for one,
Salutatorian.
2 things. Well, no, I'm trying to think what the other thing. There were there a couple of awards?
Did she get the Rob O'Leary Award?
That might have been the O'Leary Award, but
I don't know what that is.
yeah, but we
Rob
had
O'Leary used to be a guidance here. He was
Yeah.
the outreach coordinator, co-op coordinator. Died of brain cancer.
Yeah.
He used to co-host Tiger Talk. You know him if you saw him.
Yeah, if you saw him, you'd know him. Cool guy. Miss him. But we had a nice beach ball at the Tech Academy graduation that one of the school administrators walked down to the pit and grabbed in the middle of graduation. They had two during the high school graduation, and those were not astounded with, but the one at the Tech Academy was.
It happened.
And I'm not going to name who walked down there to take it, because if you actually knew it, would go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
First time
funny.
I've ever seen a class chant for a beach ball.
Yeah, we want beach ball at their graduation. I mean, come on.
That was the best.
The difference between the tech kids and the high school kids.
Where was your graduation?
In the gym
Here?
here.
They didn't have the upper campus then? Or did they?
No, that didn't happen till they didn't even start that project until 2 or 3 years. I have the answer to that umbrella if anyone can hear me out in the hallway.
What?
Yeah.
Shiny thing, squirrel.
I know I have the answer to that umbrella. I can, and it matches, it meets up with what we're about to talk to or continue talking about.
It's from the graduation.
It's from the graduation. So we had
acknowledged you.
So we had the high school graduation,
Yep.
and watching the skies, watching radar,
Friday night or Thursday?
That's Friday night now, and that's out in Bullens, the football.
And it was beautiful all day.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then they Zapp didn't do his speech. He said a remark or two, but that was it.
Neither did the mayor.
The
mayor cut it down
the
to
mayor
like
cut
a
it down.
paragraph.
Kelly Pease, John Vilas, neither of them spoke because they just, did the
Well, they knew
abridged.
the rain was coming. They saw it on the radar.
Yeah, so we're about 20 minutes out, and it was more like 10 minutes out. But they were just blasting through the names. Now,
I noticed that they barely had time to get it before they were calling.
now
it.
our gear that we were using for this, it doesn't have weather protection, and we decided, okay, well, we're going to cover one of the cameras and shoot with the other. So the
graduates only came one way at one time.
Yeah, so I had somebody assisting me down in the field, which was good to have that day because I work in the field, and then Peter and a few other students work up in the control room in the booth. So now I have a trash bag I gave him, and my assistant is holding the trash bag above the camera. Somebody comes over, hands him an umbrella to use to cover it. And that's where that umbrella out in the hall comes from.
Okay. Okay.
So,
or do it like the cruise lines. You have these great big umbrellas they hand out. That's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But they take them back.
Right.
Damn.
So, and then they switched directions. So it's like, okay, you hurry up and run down there with the umbrella and cover that camera, and then I'll cover this one up so that we can't use it. And
oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably get things to attach to the tripod to keep rain from falling on them, but
every year we go through this, and we just don't have a place large enough to allow everyone. That's what's great about Bullens Field. Mm-hmm. Anybody can go. There's plenty of room for everybody
Well, and
to go.
it's a bigger impact on the high school than the technical academy. It really is.
Now, why do you think that?
Because I only heard a few people complaining that everybody couldn't go to the Tech Academy graduation, but they were able to give them 4 tickets each. That's a lot of people. And there's only 150
we had 4
graduates.
tickets when my kids were in high school.
And you know what? There wasn't wasn't anyone in the hallway that had a sour face on them that night.
Well, they
that
didn't
couldn't
go.
get
If
in.
they didn't have tickets, so there wouldn't be. But I'm sure people were disappointed. I know there were grandparents, I'm sure, that couldn't go with the family, and sometimes you have more than 4 in your family. But that happened when my kids graduated. We were the first one was inside at the high school in the gym, and it was deadly because it was hot, and that it wasn't air conditioned. But the second one was at Bullinsfield, and it was a beautiful day. It was absolutely gorgeous.
I had 4 tickets at my graduation because we had it in the gym here. Yep. Mother, father, brother, girlfriend. That was the 4.
Contrary to what you think, I did have a graduation ceremony. We did have it back in those days.
How?
We did.
How did you handle the weight of that big, heavy stone tablet that they gave you?
Well, if lightning didn't strike, we were all set. It was in the armory. We had it in the armory back then. I'm sure that's where your mother had it. In the Westfield Armory, right across the street here. And they got all the, I remember they got all the diplomas mixed up because the mayor, I don't even remember who it was then. I'm going to say Pelzinski, but I could be wrong. But they mixed up the stacks, so we all got the wrong diplomas. Westfield State was in Springfield in Symphony Hall.
All right. They use the Civic Center, don't
Now
they?
they're in the Civic Center, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Although they've had it out back. They had it out back a couple of years ago, but that was quite a while ago, Peter.
I think they had it for some anniversary. They had it on the green.
Yeah,
by the Globe.
Yeah, that's because I had some student teachers that invited me, and that's where it was, out back there.
I think it was something. Oh, was it when the Civic Center was being renovated?
I don't know. I don't remember.
For some schools in the area, I've heard they use the Coliseum.
Westfield High used the Coliseum in 1975 because I had a family member that graduated, and we went over to the Coliseum. So that was in 75. I don't know how long, and I don't know why, but they did. You're right. You're right. And it's just, my own personal graduation dislike nowadays is that we're doing so many of these graduation ceremonies. They graduate from kindergarten, and they graduate from 4th grade, and they graduate from 6th grade, and they graduate from 8th grade. So by the time you get to high school, it really isn't important. So we've just sort of trivialized it a little bit.
That's the same thing with participation trophies.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. We've trivially beep. This message will self-destruct. Thank you. We have trivialized, how's that? Accomplishments. We don't make it important anymore.
I agree with you.
But
Well, it's not
just
just
me.
accomplishments that are trivialized. See, I got it correct.
You said it. I'm so proud of you. Go to the head of the class.
Yeah.
Sit with the Robins.
Just for showing up, now you get a gold star.
I know.
And if the kid next to you gets a silver star, well, you have to get one too, because that's fair.
And you know, it's funny that you say this because the kids actually see right through this. They really do. And I have known, this is awful, and I'm going to get yelled at for this. I know I'm going to get yelled at. So consider that I'm an old lady and perhaps I'm in my dotage and don't know what I'm saying. That works for me. But there are kids who game the system doing that.
Yep.
And they do. They know.
I'd be one of them, probably.
They know. But no. We all game the system. The best students in the world game the system. But there are kids who know that if they really misbehave, and I mean badly, I don't mean talking when they've said to you 940 times, sit still and stop talking. Because that was me. I was that kid. Sit still and stop talking. And obviously, as you can see, folks, I cannot sit still and stop talking. No matter what I'm doing, I can't. But there are kids who are really, I'm going to say it, rotten kids, and they know they're going to get sent out of the room, and they know they're going to go and get an ice cream cone and get sent back. And they know it, and they game it, and they know it. And they do. And my kids pointed that out to me when they were in second grade. They said, Mom, it's not fair. There was something that was happening, and they chose probably the worst kid in the school to do something important. And my kids both said to me, that wasn't fair, Mom. They did it to try to make this child feel important, but he didn't earn it.
I've been trying to tell people that for years.
Even little kids see it. And I don't mean when we're trying to get away with things, because I did too. You know, I don't feel good, I want to go home. That kind of nonsense. I did it. We all did it. Wait a minute, I still do it. I don't feel good, guys. I'm going home now. Do you mind? Go ahead.
If you didn't, I was gonna.
Children are much smarter than we give them credit for.
Absolutely.
And there are
That's
those,
why I hold them to account when they come out on a shoot with us. I don't play the I don't know. Yes, you do. You're smarter at like running cameras and stuff like this. I trained one kid and I let him show all the other kids.
I'm sure the high school graduation, Pete, when I wasn't up in the control room, but you had some of our students.
Ben was doing it all.
Yeah, it was very.
I let Ben do it because I was busy with my own stuff.
Yeah, it was very quick and simple to work with them because I had taught them that the basics, ready camera 2, on camera 2. I mean.
And I reinforced that.
And you use the same language. So when you had to take a bile break, and I had to replace you for a couple of minutes, I sat right down using the same language, the same terminology. Not a little flutter, not a little flicker of any difference.
It's called standards.
Yeah.
If you have standards, then somebody can sub in and it's easily recognizable.
And they're getting it now, which is awesome. I started trying to get all this in their head at the beginning of the year, and it's finally that they were listening because it worked.
And they said, "We enjoy this."
Yeah, it worked. They did what they needed to do on Friday night.
It's always amazing when kids do what you tell them to do.
I was proud. I was impressed. I was proud of them too.
Yep. I stole them at the end of this. The guys did an awesome job.
Very proud. And I forget the names of 2 of the students we had. We need to make sure their teacher gets them because they are getting extra credit for that work and they deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yep. That's it for graduation. It's 8:40.
That's it for graduation.
Oh, look, I got to adjust the clock.
And that's it for my rant.
Yeah. All right.
And
you have a rant, Ken?
You didn't have a rant today.
Until yesterday afternoon, I didn't even have a guest for today because last week was just so discombobulated, I didn't even think of anything.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys throw me off when you don't have a Tuesday because I get thrown off. It just messes up my week.
Wait until July. I don't think I'm going to have one.
I'm not here in July.
See, it doesn't matter.
And I will be gone in August to New Zealand. I think
Good for you.
I think on the 12th, but I'll be back.
I'm not worried about August. July, yeah, July. I'm not on air, but I'll be working here, obviously.
Well, there might be some shows that want to do stuff. You got to talk to your 9:00 guest.
Yeah, I can do that
because he's all over. He cherishes his 4 hours of time.
Oh yeah, well, there's going to be one week where it's I'm just shut down because it's going to be torn apart in here for cleaning. But
that's a good
idea.
idea.
Yeah, the other weeks that you're gone, I don't mind doing the show.
Oh, you're going back to Florida, Peter?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Florence, Alabama.
Oh.
Upstate.
Okay.
I'll be closer to Nashville than I will be to like Selma.
In the land where brothers and sisters are cousins.
Stop it.
We didn't hear that, and I thought I was offensive. Or royalty. Royalty's
Really? You're a mother and father, brother and sister?
royalty is all cousins. They're all related. That's why
That
it's
explains it.
funny. It does explain it. It does, especially when you get into the kings in France and Spain.
And Russia.
They were all, yeah. They were all weird. In fact, the Tsar looked just like the King of England. They were cousins.
Yep.
And they looked exactly like. They looked like brothers. Oh, well, you never know. It could be your brother. Could be your cousin.
How do you get around all the blood testing, checking for things like that in Vegas when you can just go to City Hall and get a license and you're done?
Good question.
That's a risk you take, I guess, huh?
Sort of is. Sort of is. Although with all the DNA stuff, my kids did that DNA. They wanted me to do it. I said, Jess, we don't have any skeletons. She was so hoping she'd find something.
This is why Maury made a living out of DNA tests.
You're not the father.
You are not the father. You are the father. You are not the child. You're the uncle of the brother whose sister married your uncle's sister's brother's cousin's wife.
You're my best friend's brother's uncle's cousin's nephew's niece's doctor's best friend.
And then some.
What was Rick Moranis' name in that movie? Dark Helmet. Spaceballs.
Well, but in the early colonial days.
Uh-oh, camera one is dying.
Maybe they're offended by what we're saying.
Camera one can't be dying. That's the one I just installed.
Well, it just flashed black twice.
What was that? That was camera one that did that?
Yep.
Not something you were feeding. Okay. That's scary.
It just went to black twice and
They're
reset.
getting ready for Rob to come in. I hear the song.
Okay, so
This song. Love this song.
Kathy spilled it. Bobby Goff is coming in at top of the hour. So that explains the weird things happening.
If he
now.
remembers to show up.
That scares me with that camera. Well, that's a second generation camera now.
I know.
Huh.
Could have just been something weird.
Yeah. I know, glitches happen.
I had never seen it before.
And that happened just as you keyed that audio, so maybe it was something in
No.
I have a question for both of you. Cell phone service.
God.
Might have to buy fans for the rack this year.
You think?
Yeah.
That room's about 10 degrees warmer than here.
Question. How's your cell phone service been?
I love it.
I have T-Mobile, so I love it too.
Yeah.
I don't, and it's been really glitchy. And people that I know that have the same service I
In
do.
Verizon?
I didn't say that.
You can. They're a commercial company. They need to be held to account if they don't serve their people.
It's just been very glitchy lately. Like messages don't come through. They come through later. Voicemail doesn't come through. You get it 2 hours
I've
later.
never had a problem with T-Mobile. I've had them my entire
Interesting.
run.
Yeah, my network back's on T-Mobile.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was the service. I don't believe it's my phone because it's happening to several different people. So I don't think it's my phone. Could be my phone.
It's
but I
not
don't.
you, it's them.
Yeah. And they'll never admit to it.
No, God, no.
No. You know what we had here yesterday, but I don't have any proof?
What did
Something
we have?
happened here yesterday.
What happened yesterday? Wait a minute. You know what you forgot today?
What?
You forgot to say what we're doing, who we are.
Yeah, we never
I
got that
haven't.
far.
I haven't done that in months.
You're just assuming everybody knows.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Okay. What happened yesterday as I speak to Ken on Ken's desk?
We had a chopper land in Yakum
No,
Field.
sir. Why?
For the heck of it. Actually, some class set it up, and I don't think it was from here. And I'd share with you the video I shot, but I didn't shoot one.
I did. Ha ha.
you
I had
did?
I had the camera, and I was advised not supposed to be a big deal. You know, don't film it. And
So?
it
We're
was
the media.
it
They
was-
can't tell us what
so
to film.
so this is what I'm getting at right now. This is why I'm bringing this up. Okay. All right. First off, the person who organized the event, who wasn't from the school, had a beef with this big scary video camera up there. Maybe they were worried about me getting children on camera, but I always shoot from behind. I never, I've been doing this for years. I know how to do my job, right? I wanted to get the chopper landing, get a real good shot. And, no, don't do it. Don't do it. There was a student who's really into that stuff. He was involved with police somehow. He had he had a DSLR. Don't take any pictures. But now we have 50 people out there.
Hey, we don't work for the school department.
We have 50 other people out there with this,
Yeah, I know.
taking pictures and videotaping.
Right.
Now, my question is,
Here's
What-
the thing.
uh,
It's a public area.
right. Now I paid attention to what was requested by one of the administrators here. I was being a nice guy. I was playing along. But as a journalist,
Do you have a
I'm like,
personnel
wait a minute. My taxes paid for this. This is a public field. I can run a camera here if I want.
Yes, you can.
What standards are we teaching our children here? And basically, gets tied into journalism somehow with radio and TV. Okay, you can shoot anything unless we tell you not to shoot it.
What was their reason for not?
We don't want it to be a big thing.
What does that even mean? I don't.
That was the reason.
What?
This wasn't supposed to be a big thing, a big production.
So
don't-
what?
Right. So I played along. I was going to be a nice guy. But now I'm getting it out, and I'm probably going to cut this clip out of this segment. I mean, there's nothing that can make you stop me from filming something over there. That's public area.
I don't, and this is my opinion only, Peter. I don't see why just filming it landing would be a
But
big thing.
50 people are out there with one of
I
these
know.
damn
I-
things.
Here's
feel-
the thing. If it is in public view, this is what they taught me when I worked at Channel 40.
Right.
If it is in public view, it is fair
It's
game.
fair game.
There would not
Yeah.
be an expectation of privacy landing on a public field.
No.
Correct.
No.
That doesn't. Oh, that's
No.
interesting.
And at that point in time, we all got hit with rotor splash.
Notice, no kids involved, just the helicopter. And that individual can come see me if he's got It was just a show and tell thing. State police does it as outreach
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep. Okay, good. So Peter captured that video because he had one of these things in his hand. Okay, one of these things. But now I bring big scary video camera with me. No.
I don't.
I would say,
What am
you
I
don't
ex-
have a right to tell me that.
What am I and you know what? If I was a stranger to the administration here, I would have, I played along, but if I was out covering a story or if you sent me to videotape something, I would have stood my ground.
I would have still told him that. Kevin, you don't have a right to tell me that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have this. You pick where and when to do your battles. This one wasn't important for me to capture on film. I'm going to be talking with him about this at some other point in time to discuss, the values we teach with journalism and
I don't even
whatnot.
know if that's the point. The point is,
Didn't the students send out somebody with a still camera to shoot photos?
And he was told no pictures because now he has a professional
why?
camera.
This isn't a government secret. Why?
It's in public view.
I
Yeah.
don't understand
Big
why.
problem
no
with
I think that this person was worried about the young students being exposed.
I understand that. So
Shoot from
did
behind.
you see anything in mine? No, there wasn't a single student in
No.
there.
No.
That's curious.
Yeah.
and
There are ways
curious,
to
sir.
do things without, and I understand that because I had to do that for the video that we did over at Franklin Avenue.
Yep.
There were a couple students that couldn't be included that had to
Yes.
sit next to me because of legal issues, things like that.
Yeah,
All right?
when we
That's
shoot
no
we shoot things
problem.
at Fort Meadow, okay, don't go over here.
Right.
Don't shoot over here.
We do that with kids' programs. We have them sign a release that can your child be photographed.
And I can
Not,
understand
please
if he
let us
didn't know
know.
who could and who couldn't. So he
Yep.
said don't as an abundance of caution. But your response to that is I'm not including any of those kids in my shot. And that's how it is. I'm going to get the shot.
Well, the directive, Peter, could have been, please don't shoot where the kids are, where the students are.
Correct.
Or shoot so
that would have been a reasonable
we don't
request.
have students.
Yeah, give me a reasonable request.
would make
No,
sense.
we don't want that here. No. This is not the end of the story. This is not the end of my beef with this. But I had to decide, do I want to do this right now while I'm pissed off? Or, okay, I'll handle it later on. And I've decided to handle it later on, but I'm getting part of it out now.
Well, there should be an understanding between an administration that is trying to be cautious, and I understand that.
And I respect
And
that.
I do
and the needs of the program that you have that is a video multimedia journalism class basically. Mm-hmm. You have to balance the needs of that. You can't have them when you want them. There's sometimes where it's going to be slightly uncomfortable, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying we're barging. I'm not saying I'm telling the kids to go barge into this principal's office when somebody screwed up. That's not what it's about.
And Peter,
you know what I mean? Like it's not a gotcha interview.
And you know me by now. I can be unobtrusive when I shoot, and I shoot properly. I mean, there wouldn't have been any issue.
I was over with horticulture, and they're all looking at it, right? Because it's right outside their shop. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, oh, Bad Street's here for a visit. Because I thought it was a military helicopter.
Yeah. Instead
Oh,
of
it's bad. It comes over. I see him circling. I'm like, it's Badge 3.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know the lingo? I'm like, well, if it's still the same call sign that they use out of Westover, it's Badge 3.
Yeah. So instead of
That's what they
putting
call themselves.
my tail between my legs and walking back to the building, Culinary sitting on the bench out there. So I hung out with Culinary for that and just watched it, while all the kids took that out and got their pictures
Correct.
and videos done.
Yes. You should take your phone out. Like I did. And so we had the clip.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just chatting at that point. Actually, what I was doing was I had Flight Radar 24 called up, and there were two choppers. There was a Black Hawk coming out of
BAF.
KBDL,
Oh.
and there all of a sudden what was a Bell, which is what the police use. And
That was a Eurocopter,
It was
wasn't
actually
it?
coming out of KPTY Plymouth. It didn't actually take off from KCEF.
So they came from the other part of the state.
Yeah, Rhode Island, Rhode Island up and then
No.
over. No.
They'd be based out of Hyannis or Bourne.
That was a different chopper. But now I'm watching it on here, and now the Culinary guys are like, okay, yeah, it must be this chopper here. It's at 1,400 feet in altitude. It's going 99 knots, and I'm like, okay, it's going to show up right over there. And boy, did I get it right. But yeah.
Interesting.
I guess at some point when my next guest comes on,
He's here.
we'll talk about the pool situation.
Okay.
All right. Matter of fact, we'll start
The
off
pool
with that.
update?
Yeah, we'll do
Pool
the pool
update.
update at the
I
top of
already
the
had
hour, because you asked about it.
I did ask about
Yeah,
it.
and
Did.
Axe.
we don't need to take the whole 60 minutes to talk about what Bobby and I are going to do this weekend.
Oh, but I have my story for him, too. Don't forget to
We'll have
remind
time
me.
for that.
I haven't told him that. I keep meaning to message him and tell him about
Well,
it.
you're going to have plenty of
but
time
I
here.
have not had time.
Yeah,
to
he's
do
going to be
that.
locked down in that chair. He's not going to be able to leave once we start.
Once he's tiny, Betty, he needs
Yeah.
to come back there again.
All right.
'Cause it's very
you know,
active.
with my new toy,
Here it comes. I knew you were going to love to bring this out.
Yeah, he couldn't just wait to
I know.
slap us all in the face with it.
I find it
No,
amazing. It
it's not
amazes
that.
me,
It's
and
not that.
I'm not a tech person,
No,
but I'm amazed.
now that I'm ranting about the footage that
Could've used
I
that.
didn't get. If I had this one day earlier, I just could
They would have never known.
They never would have known.
They would never know.
It's a $650 1-inch sensor, 4K, 60 frame per second camera. Believe it or not, this little thing. If I was out there with this, they would have been none the wiser.
We pioneered it with the Zoom cameras, and now the technology's gotten even better.
Exactly. The idea with the Zoom cameras that came out during COVID led to this. This is going to be one of my primary shooting cameras now because of what this is capable of.
All right, but tell people what it is.
It's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Now, DJI is known for the gimbals, the high-end gimbals, but they also do some video gear and drones. It's a Chinese company, and they just concentrate on a few things, and they do really good at it. The instructions and some of the text, it's wonky because it's Mandarin to English to whatever, so that is difficult. But once you learn the gear, it's high-end, it's reliable. And if I had this, I would have gotten just as good footage out of that chopper coming in as I would that big JVC field camera.
Yep.
And nobody would have said boo.
You're right.
Speaking of boo, we're a
Saw
couple
what
of
you
minutes.
did there.
We're a
Nice
couple.
segue.
Saw what you did there.
I can still do it. Bobby Goff in the second half. We're gonna at some point talk about what we're doing this weekend, but we will lead off with the pool story because that one's kind of interesting too. Speaking of Chinese companies.
Oh, here we go.
So yeah, it all comes back around.
6 degrees of Ken Stomsky.
6 degrees
6
of Kenny.
degrees to Ken's issues.
Yep. All right,
Oh.
nine on the nose. We'll be back right after this.
Burn down the store, take what you want and more. Shop until you drop, voodoo consumer never stop. Load up on supplies, no sale, no compromise. Gun crazy down the mall, voodoo consumer take it all. Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous. Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous. 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 Drive me to the bank, kneel down and give me thanks. Grab your credit card, voodoo consumer, kiss me hard. Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous. Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous. Take it all too far. Sell the company car. A bargain come too late. Voodoo consumer terminate. Eat this, drink this, try this, buy this, wear this, fly this, play this, charge it. It's fabulous. Step right up and take it. It's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously marvelous. make it fabulous. 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 Fabulous.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Rocky's Ace Hardware. For all your fall cleanup needs, plus you'll experience our legendary helpful service in every department. Rocky's, rock solid service since 1926.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Look who just walked in, Bobby Goff.
Yeah, you know, my first inclination is starting off my show. Good morning, everybody. This is Bobby Goff with the Bobby G and Company Show coming right at you. But it isn't. You got to wait 2 more days for that.
Well, we don't even do that with Ken anymore.
I noticed.
So Peter, I actually gave Bobby the heads up. There's going to be a week where the studio is down in
He'll make
July.
it tape a show.
And he's like, okay, well, we can tape a show.
Exactly.
So now I'm like, okay, so
His ego cannot let him allow to go for 1 week.
Not ego.
So now I'm
it's
looking-
not ego. Not at all.
So now, so now that's an additional hour on my end to download and everything, and then 4 hours, and then an hour afterwards. So I'm like, you know what? Screw you. We're gonna do it in a crappy, dirty, discombobulated studio that week.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Where?
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Southwick?
No. Everything's still going to be functioning here. It's just that it's going to be torn apart because of summer cleaning and reorganization. So you might have to step over a few things to get to the top
You
table.
know, Kenny, I am like the poster child for cooperation. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get any better than this.
Right.
But I had Ashley, my psychic Ashley called me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is going to mean anything to you. She said she got a message from Chester that said he was going to let you know he was around, something about the number 1. Does that mean anything to you? Does that mean anything to you? Something electronic with the number 1 involved with it. He was going to mess with it to let you know that he was here. You got an expression on your face. What does that mean to you?
My house number begins with 1. That's about it. And
Do you
that
have any
hasn't
cameras
changed.
do you have any cameras go wonky?
Oh, no, he was listening on his way in. Screw you.
See? This is my point. This is my point that I'm going to make.
Go pound sand and
This
keep
is-
walking east until your freaking hat floats.
This
man.
is why I only I had you hooked. This is why I only deal with certain psychics. Because 9 out of 10 are full of crap. They research you, and they tell you what you already know.
Exactly, yes.
That's why I am very picky about who I work with, because of what I just did. Mm-hmm. And by the way, when have I ever forgotten an appointment with you, Peter? So you see, that's my point. I mean, when we're working with a case, there is no shenanigan like that. It's legit. It's above board. I did that for you, to you for fun. Because I was listening to the station on the way in here. And, yeah, I know. You give me the bird. Yeah. But my point with that is that you can see how easily somebody can research a situation.
Oh, yeah.
And just throw you, especially when they're getting paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a name coming. Oh, it starts with J.
Yeah.
Are you sure? There's no J involved?
Yeah.
Oh, well, J. L is kind of like the J. What about an L?
Yeah. They'll throw you something common that'll apply to 90% of the people
Absolutely,
out there.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the psychic and investigations in a second or two. I did promise the pool story. So it was announced the other week that the liner on my pool blew out.
Oh, okay.
So I had to order another one. And
I didn't know. I think I did hear that.
And
I think you told me.
It's a 14-footer. which is a rare size. It's
Okay.
the only thing that'll fit. I can't put a 15 in.
Sure.
So I find one on AliExpress. A week later, oh, I'm sorry, it's out of stock. We can send you the 15-inch. No. So I was refunded. Looked everywhere else, couldn't find one. Found another seller on Ali now. All right. So I got it on order, and 3 times I've been reaching out because it says we'll ship in 12 days, 11 days, 10 days. I go, well, tell me if it's at least the computer says you have 90 of them in stock, but tell me if it's actually freaking in stock, right? Can't get an answer out of them, but I can't cancel this order until I know for sure, and then try to find something else. So at this point, I don't have my pool set up in my yard yet. June 11th. It doesn't matter. The weather's been crap anyway.
Yeah.
I really couldn't have used it even with the solar cover. It wouldn't have helped much. But end of the week, it looks like it's warming up, and it would have been nice to have it. So that's the story.
Oh, I thought that was a paranormal. I was waiting for the paranormal twist.
No. We meant to talk about it in the first hour, and we just never did. And I promised to bring it up.
Ah, okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you my story.
Okay. We'll get everything out now.
Do we have dramatic? Why is my mic shut off? Or is it my headphones?
It's your headphones.
Headphones.
Yeah, his mic is really hot today.
My headphones are wonky.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kathy. I'm sorry.
Rob had come in, as you know, and he had done 4. We did 4 investigations at the Westfield Women's Club. Love it. Westfield Women's Club back in, about 3 or 4 years ago now, isn't it?
I think the last time we were
while.
there was the night of the 350 reveal.
Yeah, and I will tell you, we do say hello to Caroline and Jonathan when we go in.
Okay,
because
good.
that was the decision that it was Jonathan and Caroline, and Jonathan is upstairs in the mulberry room where the sound booth is. And he doesn't really like us. It isn't that he doesn't like us. It's that he's uncomfortable. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not remembering it, but he gets uncomfortable when we're in the building.
Well, I think it's a professional thing. That's his control room. He doesn't like other people being in there.
And he goes into, it's actually the bathroom, but he leaves the room when we're in there. He was a young man. And it was I believe it was an unexpected death. And Caroline is on the lower level. Caroline is, she died in childbirth or shortly after, and she was older when she was pregnant, and again, it was an unexpected death. But honestly, when you're young and you pass away, it's an unexpected death anyway. Sure. So needless to say, there have been a few things since then. We were there we always sit around after the show and we just kind of shoot the breeze. And two of my friends were sitting in the chair and they were looking on the stage, and there was this, now the lights are off, the house lights are on, shadow on the stage up in the back corner. And I remember that because that's going to matter.
Yep.
And I was standing against the stage. Now, do you remember when we were doing the investigation, one of the times one of your investigators was sitting what we call house right. He was sitting in the balcony on the right of the room, and he said to us when we were all done, he said, "Who was hitting me on the shoulder?" Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, we weren't anywhere near him.
Yep.
So, no, we didn't hit him on the shoulder. And I've had people in the audience actually complain about being touched in that same area.
Really?
And they knew nothing about it. They didn't know any of these stories. They complained to us that somebody was bothering them. So I'm standing against the stage, and this was just back in April, and I'm looking up, Rob, and I can see, you know when you see something and it's sort of out of the corner of your eye and you don't think you saw it, you don't really pay attention.
Sure.
So I saw it, I turned, I didn't think, and then I looked again, and up in the back corner where Jonathan would be, it was this grayish. The closest thing I can get to is a smoky shadow.
Okay.
And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, I'm not seeing this. And I'm thinking, no, it's just the way the light is playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it wasn't.
Yep.
So here's the better part of the story. And now for the rest of the story. The man doing our videotaping, he's a wonderful guy, Denny Bissett. He does all the shows. He's fabulous. He set up a motion detector camera backstage.
Okay.
We have it on camera.
Really? You got the shadow on
We
camera?
have it. No. He's backstage in the wings. If you're looking at the stage, he's on the left, and that's where all the dimmer packs are. There's really nothing on the other side of his rooms, but you can't get there. And he had the camera facing the back wall. And you could see Lynn, our stage manager, she brought a chair through. You can see the chair go through the teaser, the curtain. And all of a sudden, you see a light, and where it comes out from is the brick wall. Now, this is not a round orb.
Okay.
It's a light, and it comes out of the wall, and it goes around a little bit. It sort of zips around, so it's not blowing. It's not wind.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fan anywhere. There's no wind, but it's not something blowing. It's very purposely moving, heads directly to the back stair. It's at the back stair, and then it zips right down the stair. We have it on video.
No kidding.
See, I was about to tell her I thought you quit taking acid.
And people are downstairs waiting to come up because the next scene has a lot of people in it. I know exactly what scene it was. Now, here's the thing. You could say, well, maybe it was a bat. But people are down the stairs. If they were down at the bottom of the stairs, you would know there's a bat coming right at you.
Well, I can tell you when are you in normal mode or IR, night vision?
Oh, I have no idea.
Is the screen green or is it normal colored?
It's normal.
Okay, so you're a normal camera. If you see anything flying, whether it be a mosquito, a bat, anything in between there, you'll know it because you can actually see the wings distorting the shape.
You can't, but it's when it goes down the stair.
Yep.
People are down there. Had it been something visible,
They would have seen it.
they would see it. And it
Well, it was visible because you saw it.
well,
only on the medium
but we only
of the
see
camera.
it on the camera. They didn't see it they saw nothing. Nobody down at the bottom of the stairs saw anything come down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And it zips right down. I mean, it just it dives right down those stairs.
You'll have definitely.
I will.
It could have been pixels on a CMOS.
No.
You know, Denny
I saw the
video-
video. I think you showed me the video.
Okay, 'cause I haven't seen it.
Denny videotapes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He does this all the time.
Yeah, well, when a CMOS acts up, you have,
This wasn't that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw what she was
Yeah,
talking
but when
about.
a CMOS acts up, don't you just get pixelization?
Not always. You can get flickers.
Okay.
Not with the motion trail. Not with the motion.
Yeah, again, I haven't
Yeah.
seen the clip.
Yeah, I'll check
The
that out.
strangest thing that Rob did when we were doing the Women's Club, we were downstairs.
Now remember, this is a PG-13 show.
Yeah.
Would radiation show up on that?
Shh. Would what?
Would radiation show up?
Not on a camera, no. It's not like, well, it depends on what kind of radiation.
Yeah.
If you're talking heat as a form of radiation, then that would show up on a thermal
If it was on an IR.
But
yeah.
not an IR.
A thermal. Yeah.
IR will not pick up anything beyond light spectrum. It doesn't go
Yeah.
that. But I'm sorry, Kathy. I kind of answered it.
No, that's fine. Rob was using the dowsing rods, and
Oh, yeah.
and they're very loose, and he's not directing them. He's not moving them. They're very, very, very loose in his hands, and he shakes them every time.
Yep.
So there were 5 of us sitting around him. Rob was sitting in front of us all, and he shook them. And one of the questions he had this was hilarious. He said, "Is there anyone here that you see in the building all the time?" And he shook them, and they did point to me.
Yeah, both rods pointed at her immediately. Because when you're doing dowsing rods, they're dominantly yeses and nos.
Right.
They cross, that's a yes. They go apart, it's a no. But and that's all well and fine. But I like to get much more into the session than that. So knowing Kathy was there, knowing what she does in the building, obviously if there's an intelligent something there, it's going to know who Kathy is. So I tested that and asked, is there anybody here that you really know? And they're weird because when you yes and no, they both move at the same time.
Oh.
When you ask for a person, the one usually closest to that person will aim at them, and then I have to ask them to move the other one. And then they slowly move
we've been
the
through
second.
that.
Yeah, we did that at your place.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. And I know that the other time when we were there, Rob and I were probably, I'm going to estimate 10 feet apart.
Okay.
And he always gives the direction, as you know, if you make any sound, if your stomach moves, if you burp, if you cough, say that was me so that when they listen to the tape, they know it was something you did. So we're sitting there, and Rob said, Kathy, was that you? I said, no, I thought that was you.
Yeah.
In between the two of us, we very clearly heard something go, whoop.
If you do an SBD, should you alert someone because you wouldn't get a sound, but you would get some other sensory?
You would definitely alert people because the people around you are going to know you did it.
Well, it could have been an
their
entity, right?
reaction-
Because I smelt entities smoking cigarettes before.
Yeah, but most entities don't do an SBD.
Okay.
But we did have, and this was back in April also, you'll appreciate this. Someone was in the building and they had things to do, and they walked in and they had set things out. We were getting ready for something and everything was set out, and she came in the next day and things were moved all around.
Have you had any issues with the piano again?
No, but new one.
Okay.
The next day she walked in and the water was on in the women's room.
Huh.
And she thought, well, somebody came in, they didn't shut it off. So she went in and she shut it off. Only person in the building.
Yeah.
Back into the main room,
She could hear the water again.
water goes on again.
Wow.
So, yes, you should come back.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about
So-
that.
Yeah.
That was an awesome place. One of my favorites to investigate. And what's cool is that Agawam Paranormal as an entity, we're 17 years doing this. That boggles the mind. Most people have not worked in a single job for 17 years. But we've had this.
My last job was 24 and a half years.
Well, you're the exception.
Well, mine was 40, but that's
I'm
okay.
surrounded by exceptions.
No.
You're right.
In
No,
this
you're
case,
right.
two out of three. That's the rule now,
Yeah.
not the exception.
So, I mean,
I love
we're
giving a
constantly
hard time.
evolving and growing, even still. Some of the new equipment, matter of fact, Kenny got all excited when we were talking about this last fall. Some of the new equipment that I bought is so new to, I don't know, I'll say the industry, for lack of a better term. The TV teams haven't even caught up to it. So I'm using stuff before the public even sees it on television.
Right.
And I can honestly,
the TV guys must have gotten to it by now, and it may
be in film.
Are these episodes, a year out?
Yeah, they're usually 6 months to a year out.
Yeah.
So they may be using it now, but they aren't as far as watching
On
a
TV
new
now.
episode on television.
Yeah.
They have not used these yet. And so as a result, one of the things that I'm pressed to do is to keep things new and fresh. And not to change the basic, but to add flavor. What can I do with an addition of a new piece of equipment, using the old stuff that we have, that is a different way of utilizing it? And
without getting into smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. One of my biggest things is that if one piece of equipment gives me supporting evidence that there's something there, okay. Motion sensor goes off. Okay. I look at the camera. Nothing shows up on the camera except for the motion sensor. All right. Well, I'll clip that video, show it to the client at the end, and just say, yeah, we have motion sensor activity. But now let's say I got an orb flying through there. Now, our motion sensors are not designed to pick up bugs.
Nope.
So a bug, short of anything like a big beetle literally landing on the motion sensor is not going to set it off. So, if I get an orb going through there, that's a second piece of equipment. Let's say I've got a REM pod, which detects proximity and EMF. If that's in camera, we add that. That's going off same time we see the orb, same time we see the motion sensor. All of a sudden, I got three pieces of equipment. The more independent equipment that I have reacting to a situation, the stronger that piece of evidence becomes.
And my logical scientific mind goes, well, I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm pointing out to you. So that was the mindset last year, that I wanted to devise an experiment that would force multiple pieces of equipment to give supporting evidence to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a device called the Tempest, which you may have heard.
Are you bringing it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, we bring it where? We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah,
yet,
we haven't talked about it.
yeah.
We're staying general right now.
Yeah.
The Tempest is, you may have heard of an Ovilus or you may have seen it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a speaking device. Some of the more high-end Oviluses actually have a digital readout that write what it says. There's a voice that comes out of it. And, okay, fine. So I deal with Dave and Michelle Giuliano from New Jersey, the Ghost Hunter store. And Dave is the type of a guy, he's like me very strongly, in that before he'll put his name on anything, it's got to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that's just a 3D printed housing for old guts, no, he wants nothing to do with that. So he was involved directly with the development of the Tempest. The Tempest is an Ovilus on steroids. Only way to put it. It has a 20,000 word vocabulary, speaks in multiple languages, can give me words, letters, and phrases, also gives me EMF readings if I want it, and temperature variance. This thing is awesome.
No, you can't have one.
Yeah,
I don't want one.
Oh, this thing is cool. The very first time that I used it was last fall. We went to the South Hadley Firehouse Museum.
Okay.
I've been there.
Is that the one where the article of clothing where something got pulled
Yes.
off the statue?
Yeah, the wedding
Okay.
dress.
All right.
I've been there at least 8 times over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And we went back, and because I was doing a presentation at the South Hadley Library, and one of the locations that we were highlighting was the Firehouse Museum. So Desiree Smelchers, the librarian there, adult coordinator, I said, hey, what are the chances I can get back in there so I can add an update to that segment? She's like, Bobby, you've got an open door here. Just let me know when you want to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby. So we get in there. Now, my psychic is Ashley. Okay, she's my primary. I got 3 of them, but Ashley's my primary psychic. Ashley and I are on the 3rd floor, third floor. And in the way back, now this has got about a 12-foot ceiling. In the way back, there's 2 windows that look out on the adjacent property. We have historically gotten EMF readings in front of those windows that I can't trace. They are a free-floating 18-inch beach ball that, as long as your meter is in that sphere, you're going to get a full hit. As soon as you exit that sphere, you get 0. And I can't trace it to the floor, to the wall, to the ceiling, nothing. 18 inches, beach ball. That's the name. So Ashley and I are up there, and I've got the Tempest on, and we're looking out, and, heat rises. So it's very warm up on that floor. So I looked at Ashley, and I said, now, the Tempest hasn't said anything. I looked at Ashley, and I says, yeah, damn it, it's really warm up here. Tempest pipes up, I'll open the window. I looked at Ashley, my eyes were huge, her eyes were huge, and then it says, I'm sensing apprehension. And I looked at Ashley, and she goes, that thing is freaking the hell out of me. And so then so we waited. It was about 3-4 minutes later, and it really was oppressive up there. Not due to Casper, but, heat rises. And so I said to Ashley, I says, all right, why don't we head back downstairs? I said, it's really just too warm up here. And the thing says, well, I told you to open a window.
Well, you see now, with AI and Alexa and Google,
this is an AI.
If it's listening...
See, you got mail.
That's how old I am.
But this,
because I'm the logical one.
Yep.
I'm always looking for an explanation, looking for a reason. And you're telling me outside the AI that operates this thing, it doesn't think.
No, there is no thought processor whatsoever in this device. So we wrapped up. We went downstairs. Now, I was running 2 teams on this night, so I relieved the person that was in command center so that they could go in and be a part of the investigation. So I kept the Tempest with me. Got it on the table, sit in front of me, still had it on. Now, they're on the middle floor, and I can hear them talking. They're wrapping up for the night. So, we always say, thank you very much for blah, 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 blah. We have a certain, kind of a feel that we wrap up with. Tempest sitting in front of me goes, yeah, it's time for you guys to go home now. Cindy, who was in command center with me, just looked at me, and her eyes were huge. Did that just say what I think it just said? And I'm like, yep. And as soon as I said, yep, it said, but you're welcome to come back anytime you want. I was like, okay, I'm sold. It was, you could hear Tracy on the second floor, and it was answering Tracy from the table in front of me directly 1 floor down. And it was really, really interesting. Is it proof of Casper? Hell no. It's an interesting thing that makes you think about it, But when it's giving you direct answers to questions, that's pretty cool to me. It's interesting. So we came up with this idea.
And it's not the people who designed it or built it who are just trying to get one over.
No, this is serious stuff. This isn't an app for your phone. That is what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about that level. I'm talking about...
No, David's the real deal.
There's no Easter eggs in this thing or anything.
No. Right. So I came up with an idea. Now, I just spent $500 on getting a Tempest. I thought for sure Hope was going to kill me. I did. So how do I celebrate that? I paid $500 more for another special camera. Oh. Woo-hoo! So I bought a device called a tripwire. And this is something I'm really looking forward to using at the Women's Club. It is basically a 36-foot long whip. And it's straight away every 3 feet. There's an EMF meter that are wired not in series but parallel. So they don't all go off. So if we take this, make a big circle. Okay? Anything entering that circle that is producing energy, one of those EMF meters will light up. So I will actually see a direction of entry.
So you actually have to bear witness to the tripwire.
Yeah, or you put it in front of the camera.
Right, so it doesn't transmit to... No. It doesn't transmit data to you or anything like that.
No, nothing like that.
And is there any reason specifically why 36 feet?
That was the longer of the two.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't mean anything.
No, they had 2 of them, 36 and 12.
It's not a certain wavelength or anything like that.
Nope. So my thought was...
I see what you did there, Pete.
Yeah.
All right.
Correct that whip. Right. So one of the things, again, I'm trying to do supporting evidence from pieces of equipment. So we set up the tripwire in a circle, big circle, 36 feet long, put 2 chairs in the middle of that circle. You've seen us do the Spirit Box session, Kathy, where we put the mask on, the noise-canceling headphones. One person will be sitting in one chair doing that. Person sitting next to him is using the Tempest. So now I've got my specialty SLS camera, which basically the concept of this came from the Xbox, which had a sensor that shot IR dots, and you became the controller. So if you're standing in front of your TV and you wave this arm, the character on the TV waves that arm. All right? And it was called the Kinect. So over the years, they've modified it, condensed it, made it work even better. So the SLS camera maps the environment. So it'll look at the 3 of us, acknowledge that we are really there, we're people. It'll assign possibly a stick figure to each of us. But then, if an anomaly shows up, it'll assign a stick figure to that. It can map adults, children, and animals. I got one. First time I took it out of the box, I put it together. I'm sitting on my couch. Now, from my couch, you're looking at my television. Either side of my TV, I've got an opening going into the dining room kitchen area. So we lost a dog about 2.5 years ago, Stewie. I'm sitting there, and I've got this put on, and I'm not recording, I'm just playing. I'm like, this is cool. And I'm panning around, and when I got to one of the openings, I could see the head of a little dog looking around the corner at me. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm looking, there's nothing there. And he pulled back, and it was about 20 seconds later, came back around the corner, but a little further. So I could see like the front half of him on the camera as a stick figure. And based on the size, that's where Stewie used to come around a corner and look at me. So, I mean, we've experienced pet and animal spirit over the years many times. It's not anything new. I was just really surprised to see it on this camera in my home. And, you know, to that size. You know, it was the perfect size. So, interesting piece of equipment. Bring it on the very first investigation. I got my guy Adam, which hopefully you'll meet Adam Saturday. Set it up for him, get it turned on. I hand it to Adam. It dies. No connection. What the hell is this message? So, okay, go on in. You do your segment. I'm going to fix it. So I'm in command center. I fix the camera. He comes up. I call him on the radio. Come on up and grab it. I got it working again. He comes up. He just steps in the room. The camera goes down. I'm like, this camera don't like you. And that was the running joke for the while there. And I had to send the camera back to the guy that made it. And he got it. And he was like, he says, everything checked out. He says, oh, so what I ended up doing, he says, was replacing all the USB cords that were in it, that are in the housing. He says, just on the off chance that there was a break in one of the cables. He says, you should not have been getting that message. And so it's on its way back. I don't know if I'll have that for Saturday or not, but it is on its way back. So all of these pieces of equipment now, when we're doing this experiment, will give overlapping supporting evidence. And I can always put a REM pod in the middle, or anything else, and oh man,
and the camera that was acting up was the SLS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So that's on its way back in. So we decided, and again, I'm in my mind last year putting this together. So we named it the Iconal Experiment, and this for me was extremely personal. Both my mother and my mother-in-law were Irene. That's the I. My father's name was Connie. Con. Hope's father's name was Al. Iconal. And that's what we decided to name it. And it's just like, Hope didn't name it. It's funny because we had a team meeting in February. And this is when I really put this out there for the team. Hope did not know what I named it. So when we're at the meeting, we went to the Shortstop Bar and Grill here in town. And I'm explaining the experiment, and I said the name. She started bawling. It was just like perfect. I was like, didn't intend for her to cry, but I'm like, it was perfect. You know, it really hit the heart for both her and I. And I'm looking forward to trying it and seeing, you know, just what we can get.
All right.
And again, but it's all about multiple pieces. You know, one piece, you get a flashlight going off. You've seen us do the flashlight. You get a flashlight going off. That's cool, but it's still only one piece. And, you know.
If that was the only one piece, the flashlight isn't enough for me.
No, I mean, I would
because I understand how.
Yeah, I would still put it in front of you as an unexplained, but to say that it's proof of anything in your house, Kenny, nothing I can give you is going to be proof.
Right, but the more you put together, I get that. But because of the nature of my work and my education, I understand how just temperature can change a connection on a flight. Now, what causes that temperature change? Who knows?
Well, that's exactly why. I mean,
who knows?
Now you're applying the physics to the experiment, but that's exactly why we do not use the mini mag light as a light source. So if you don't start that motion or that rotation through hot and cold from using it, then what's sending it off?
Right.
I mean, you know, we try to take all the physics into account and then kind of like bypass them. How do we make this not a factor?
All right. And I was, so Bobby Goff, Agawam Paranormal, if you haven't figured it out. It was by the house a few years ago because I noticed just a few things I couldn't explain, and I get science. I get physics. I'm not a stupid person.
No, definitely not.
I'm inquisitive, and some things just didn't make sense, and come to find out, there is some juju going on in my house.
And you found out, too, you've got some history.
Yes.
And what was interesting was when Christine, who was my psychic at the time, started giving you names that
Right.
meant nothing to you initially. And I remember you called me, or you were texting me like a week and a half later, and you were going bat crap crazy because, I mean, all of the things that Chris was telling you, you were getting from your neighbors.
Right.
And you were like, Bobby, this is freaking me out. What am I doing here? What am I doing? And it was just,
maybe not to that extreme.
But I had to talk you down. I mean, you were definitely upset about it.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Definitely. But there is some activity in my house. And
I remember.
I made a film out of it. And Bobby asked Chester, and we know that's his name through research I did with a murder that took place in my house. It was in the newspapers, alleged. But there are articles in the paper I have copies of now. It was the first alleged murder in like 20 or 30 years or whatever.
Sure.
And it happened in the hallway of my house, allegedly.
Yeah.
But, something horrible happened in that house.
Yeah.
Regardless, whether it was a murder or not, something bad happened there, which was not disclosed when I bought the place.
Don't have to in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Some states that do have to. Massachusetts is not one of them.
All right. I'll have to remember that if I ever go to sell the place.
There you go. But see, now, you are coming into this with a little more knowledge than the average client.
I am.
So we've already done a psychic walkthrough with a different psychic on your location that gave us detailed information. Normally, I save that until after the first investigation because psychic's intuitions is not evidence. I can't reproduce it. I can't manipulate it. I can't test it. It's verbal, but you can tell me, like, if Kathy's my psychic, she says, Bobby, there's somebody sitting in that chair. I look, I don't see anybody. But you can bet your ass I'm going to have a camera looking at that chair tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So I use my psychics as any other kind of tool in my arsenal. It sounds kind of crass, but that's the way it is. So when we go over there on Saturday.
So that's what's happening.
There we go.
But Bobby and Agawam Paranormal are coming back to my house this weekend to do a more in-depth investigation. All we did was really make contact and had communication the last time you were by.
Yep.
And you had one of the last things you asked Chester was, do you want us to come back and talk to you?
And he said yes immediately.
And I'm keeping that promise to him.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So that's one of the major reasons why you're coming over, but also you have some more advanced stuff that we want to try out because we know that there is something in this house. You're not going in blind.
Giving it the opportunity to express itself after how many years?
Yeah. What,
I mean,
2.5 anyways now.
If you think about it, if you're in a location and nobody can hear or see you, but you're self-aware and aware of your surroundings, I mean, if somebody suddenly, after 20 years, shows up and can see and hear you, you're going to be really excited about that.
Right.
You're going to want to interact, if for no other reason, loneliness.
I'm hoping this is a very long night, actually.
Define very long. You ain't cute enough to keep me there till 5 a.m., baby.
Well, maybe not 5 a.m. cute. What do you do when you go into an investigation at a place like my house?
Well, initially there's paperwork, which I don't even remember. I got to take your physical case file and see if we did the forms. If not, we'll have to do that Saturday when I come over.
Right.
Initially, the first investigation is I'm looking for empirical data. I want a piece of evidence, whether it's a photo, a video, or an audio clip. I don't usually bring a psychic the first time because, I mean, most of them work, like Ashley, my primary psychic, she's a bartender on weekends.
Right.
So it actually costs her big bucks to come on an investigation, but she's losing the income from that Saturday's bartending. But she actually just had a major kidney infection, had to have surgery, and now she's got to go back again next week for another surgery. So she can't even drive right now. So that's why she's not going to be with us Saturday.
Right.
So, but she's expecting to be on her feet, ready to go, come the beginning of July. So we will be going back again.
Yeah, with 2 visits.
Yeah, at least 2, depending on the situation.
Yep.
Sometimes we'll talk, and I may say to you, Kenny, we may want to give Chester a third try. But that's ultimately your choice.
Right.
You know, when do you want to pull a plug? When have you had enough?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you feeling like, you know what, maybe there's a chance, you know, because I know you are like me in this. You were hoping when we went to be able to talk to your mom. And that for me...
That wasn't a thought of mine. I wanted an answer to a question.
But you also, yes, but you also had a situation going where you had an artifact that was your mother's.
No, it was mine.
The sea glass.
That was mine.
But somehow your mother was involved with that.
She collected it as well.
Yeah. So I mean, there was the possibility.
Yeah. So she was tied in with the story.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily looking for conversation because we through your use of the rods, we learned she was there but wasn't there at that point in time.
Yeah, she comes and goes. She's not stuck.
And it was just an item had moved, and I wanted to figure that one out because I couldn't figure that one out.
Because it was an item that moved that was, in your mind, related to her.
It was an item that, at this point in time, it was an item that moved
from a closed container.
From a closed container into another room that I couldn't. And I don't, at that point, I really didn't care who moved it. I just wanted to know if it was moved. And it just wasn't me.
Exactly.
I couldn't explain it. So we got through that.
Yeah.
But there's, I actually, I wrote out a few questions to ask about events that have happened since you've been there. And I wrote them out as a multiple choice.
Okay.
So that it can be a yes or a no. And I'm not going to tell you what the answer is going to be because I don't want any type of influence whatsoever.
Yep.
And it'll be very interesting, very shocking to see what we...
No, are your questions geared towards Chester or towards your mom?
Towards whatever entity may be doing things in the house.
Okay, so generalization, not even specific. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, what we'll do is you'll ask the question, I repeat it, and then you give me the choices.
Yeah, I actually have them all printed out. You can actually read it word for word if you want.
All right.
So yeah, that way there's no question.
Yeah, because we have done that in the past with the dowsing rods.
Yeah.
With huge success.
Now, do you run the Tempest at the same time you run the rods?
I try not to. I don't like to rely on any one piece of equipment, even the Tempest. If I'm doing a dowsing rod session, I usually will only do the dowsing rod. I don't even usually have EMF going.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to take away from the dowsing rods.
Gotcha. All right.
Everybody should be focused on that, and I think that actually helps. And it's just a theory. I think that actually helps the spirit work when it has the focused energy of the people around it.
Gotcha.
And as Kathy can attest, when it works, it works. But I've had times where I get nothing.
Right.
So it's a hit or miss thing.
So first visit, typically you would have the psychic walkthrough after you have your imperial evidence.
Yeah, the first visit, we're gonna have the static cameras all set up. There's 8 of those. We'll be placing those through the entire home, and that'll be hooked into Command Center. So I'm gonna have Command Center in your driveway. I haven't looked to see what the weather is going to be yet on Saturday, so that'll decide whether or not I put a pup tent up or what.
Depending on how long the cords are, I
got 300 feet of cable.
I have a 2-bay garage.
Okay, perfect. If that's an option, then I'll use that. As long as you got power in that.
I'll just pull one of the cars out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I have a 20 amp circuit for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll have that set up in there. Every camera's got 300 feet of wire, so on a spool, so that's easy.
Right.
We did Storlton Village from the central location with 300 feet of cable in each spool.
All right.
So, I mean, that's a big place. So your house would be no problem.
I've only got about 25 feet from the doorway to the garage.
You're not going to have a problem with that.
Yeah. All right. But you got to come in. And, I just cleared out the garage.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
I got rid of all the clutter. I swept the floor. I paid I paid some money to have garbage hauled away that I picked out. So
good.
The garage is all set and ready to go.
Perfect.
I've got lighting in there.
Almost like we had a plan.
Yeah. So
nice.
Maybe some entity kind of coaxed me into getting this garage ready for you.
Chester told you, get it together, buddy. But We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. But then again, I get excited for a case when it's personal to me.
Right.
If it's a friend, like Kathy when we did the women's club, you doing your home, Bob Plass doing his home. I mean, I get excited about those because to me it's personal.
Right.
I'm not meeting the client for the first time for the sole purpose of doing this for them.
Yeah, I'm not imagining things at this point.
Oh no, I never doubted you.
So now,
Yeah.
how is it different? How is it different now? You're coming in this weekend. How is it different? You already having been there, and we know for a fact that there's something going on.
See, by doing the way we did this, Chester, and I'm just going to refer to Chester only. Chester, we believe, is an intelligent haunt, meaning basically in non-paranormal English, he's a person without a body, but he's still self-aware, he's aware of his surroundings, and he can communicate if he chooses to. That's the key.
Right.
It's like, I could sit next to Kathy all day. She doesn't say a word to me.
That means she's not intelligent?
No, that just means she's mad at me. She must have resented one of my Facebook posts, which happens a lot.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother show, Bobby.
I know it. But, because of the introduction already having been made, I'm expecting and hoping Chester will be much more forthcoming.
Right.
And, hey, I remember these guys. They were very respectful. They treated me like I mattered. And now you come walking in, hey, you know what? I'm going to talk to them. I like them. It's like I said, you're dealing with a person that just doesn't have a body. And
Kathy, what we're doing different here than one of his normal investigations, on top of the fact he's already been around. I'm making a film about Bobby making a film filming investigations. I mean, I'm setting up my cameras at the same time.
Yep.
And I'm also going to have another camera for talking about what's happening, what's going on.
Sure.
I'm making a documentary out of it.
The only thing we're going to have to be careful with is going to be IR bleed. We're going to have to make sure that your IR bleed, your IR illuminators aren't pointing at mine. Because that'll bleed out my entire...
The IR illuminators are all going to be cameras on the outside of the house. I don't have IR on the inside.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll know it when we're there and we have it set
up.
Oh, yeah,
you'll see,
I'll be able to
you'll see the white...
Yeah, I'll be able to tweak
glow.
my camera, whether it be an angle on a tripod or actually physically moving a tripod. Yeah. We'll address that at the time to make sure that you get the coverage you want. Yeah. I get the coverage I need.
Yeah.
And
no motion detector inside the house where we're going to be set up. From me.
Okay.
No motion sensors. No IRs.
Gotcha.
I've got alarm sensors. The place is armed to the max.
Just make sure they're off.
Come on. This is Kenny.
Yeah.
Of course it's armed to the max. But there's no need for internal motion sensors on alarm systems anymore.
No.
But all the IR is just security cameras. I do have IR cameras in the basement, but I can deactivate those for this.
Well, depending on where they're pointing,
yeah.
If they're in concert with what I'm putting down there, the extra IR is just going to give me more illumination in the photo.
Oh, okay.
Or video. As long as they're not competing with each other, pointing at each other.
Yeah. So we're making a film about making a film.
It's like when you look into, you have a mirror on both sides of you, and you look into one, and it goes on to infinity. We're doing a movie about a movie about a movie about a movie.
About a movie.
Yeah.
And
I'll come and film you, filming him, filming them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll use the footage.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got little cameras I'm setting up here and there. I've got a couple of boundary mics I'm setting up to capture sound, and it's going to be completely independent and probably not even used by Bobby for this. It's going to be my footage that we're just going to make a documentary from. And I'm okay with this.
Yeah, you'll have to review your own footage.
Yeah.
And audio. You do.
I know there's some people out there, I don't want the inside of my house filmed. I don't want anyone else to see this.
Well, that's the
I'm very forth-covering.
It's the seesaw that we're on. Are your apprehensions about having strangers stronger than answers? Mm-hmm. Which one is your priority? In your case, you want answers.
Yeah, and I did all my big heavy cleaning last month, so the place isn't a dump this time.
So you're good.
He's got the throw rug in the middle with all the stuff underneath it. And He's got it like a big lump. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. I am. I'm looking forward to it. We'll get to your house probably around 7:30. Mm-hmm. First thing we'll do is set up the static cameras and go from there. put together a command center. And
Now,
run
how
everything
many
out.
people are you bringing?
Well, because it's a resident, I normally would bring 2 teams and just have one in at a time. But I'm only going to bring one team to Kenny's. It's not a huge house, and I'm afraid that we'll get in each other's way. And do we have access to the upstairs
I
apartment?
was going to ask.
Unknown yet. I'm still trying to get an answer.
Okay.
I asked, can we get at least one cam to shoot from, because it's set up the same as mine.
Yeah.
Can we get one cam to shoot from the kitchen straight through the inside of the house?
Yeah.
So, well.
Yeah, I mean, they can be in command center.
I think, well, they're home by work by 8:30ish or so anyway.
Yeah.
So they can make that decision at that point in time after they meet you.
Not at 8:30 that night. My cameras are placed by then.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm already started by 8:30. If I'm not, I'm
we'll have it in the hallway leading up there.
Yeah, we can definitely we can accommodate whatever.
We can move that.
Yeah, we can accommodate whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we can move it 20 feet, right?
Well, I would just need to extend the spool.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the butt.
You can coil the cable right at the
we could
camera
do that.
location. Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a possibility of a movement,
Yeah.
we'll
I'll be talking with the tenant by then. It's only Tuesday now.
That's fine.
But she'd want to be around for that. She may be working.
Tell her she's welcome. If she doesn't want to be a part of the investigation, tell her she's welcome to stay in command center with me and watch it. Because she'll be able to, with the cameras that we put in the apartment, she'll be able to see exactly where people are.
Yeah. And I actually told her, I go, you're actually welcome to come down to my unit when we reach out, when we do the sessions.
Yeah.
Definitely. She has the invite to do that.
Definitely.
And I think seeing she's under the same roof.
Yeah. Afford her the opportunity to let her make the decision.
And maybe she'll have a question or two about something that's happened up in her plate.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Has she mentioned anything?
She brought up the cigarette smoke a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not picking it up in the front part of the house. I'm smoking in the back part, but there's no way for it to get to the second floor from the first floor, front to back.
Okay.
And then one day I'm in my front room. And it's like, it's like being down on School Street and smelling Carol Mazza in the old Westfield News building. You get the cigarette. And we confirmed it, that Chester was having a cigarette.
How do you confirm a smell? Is there any way to, other than personal experience?
No, there's really no meter that'll pick that up. I'm very questioning on cigarette smoke or cigar smoke, because if you have a wooden surface that's porous, that will actually absorb the tobacco smell, and then it'll release it when it's like hot and humid out.
That wasn't
but that's not the case.
That's
what I'm saying. That's not the case.
Yeah.
But so when somebody gives me that as their biggest point, okay, that's something I got to look at. I look at the environment. What do I have? What am I dealing with? And like you said, your case, that didn't apply. So, but you can experience Casper.
And Chester's picked up a few other habits since then that we're addressing. Yes,
you can experience Caspers through multiple senses. You can hear Casper call you by name or something, say something. You may feel Casper touch you, brush your arm or something like that. You may see an apparition. Okay, your biggest sense that will never be used is taste. Casper cannot manifest in your taste buds. And that's a good thing. Because,
I get that.
Because
that
I got to believe that if he could, it would taste like sheet.
That's terrible. That's so bad. That's really bad.
Come on. It's a tough crowd.
Well, the TV show Ghosts proves that they can do smell.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show?
I love it.
Oh, when that it's. I don't remember which ghost it was. When they walk through someone, it smells like a fart.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I watched the original British version of it.
Yeah, I did too.
And I didn't care for the British version.
No. But I appreciated it. But yeah.
I did like the American take on it. And
because we generally don't get British humor. That's why.
Well, it's much drier than we're used to.
It's drier, which I appreciate. But the American one was more. It was raunchier.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not speaking. I've had that cigarette smell I've smelled that.
At the club, at the women's club?
No, it was, I had a relative that passed away in November or December. And we were cleaning out the house. And this was a month or two later.
Yep.
And I was coming down the stairs, and all of a sudden on the stairs, there was that distinct, and she smoked like a fiend.
Really?
Oh, my God, she was a smoker. Pall Malls. Blech. And it was very strong, and then it was gone.
Yep.
And the weird thing is, there was nobody outside. There was nobody walking by, and it was on the stairs. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't in a room, and then it was gone.
Just somebody letting you know they were still around.
I don't know. And at the same time, because I was in the house frequently checking the house for the family, and I walked by a room, and I would typically walk in, do a walkthrough, walk upstairs, walk to the back, walk back down, just a quick run through, just to see everything. And I walked by, and as I'm walking by a room, I think it was the bathroom, this whoosh of cold air came flying out of the bathroom.
Wow.
Like it was, like you're standing in front of a fan all of a sudden. It was very bizarre.
Yeah.
And I went to the back room, went by again, and it didn't happen the second. Now, it's the route I took all the time. There wasn't a wind. There wasn't a draft. I mean, I went into the bathroom to see, is the window open? Is there a draft going?
Yeah.
It's like that thud we hear at the women's club.
Yes.
Remember the thud?
Yes, I do. Well, do you remember when we did the public reveal for the 350? I brought up the teddy bear, put it with the meter.
The meter, I saw that.
You were there, Pete. You witnessed that.
I saw that.
The meter kept going off as if something was there with the bear. But I remember distinctly, you were sitting, if you're facing the stage, to the right, maybe 2 rows back. You were there with your girlfriends, and you were listening. And I heard footsteps, heel to toe, walking across the stage from left to right.
Yeah.
And then I hear Kathy talking to one of her girlfriends. Did you hear those footsteps? And I'm thinking to myself, thank God somebody else heard it.
Right.
And because, I mean, I actually, Pete, no lie. I mean, you were there. I mean, I don't know if you caught that part of it.
You could hear them.
But I
don't remember hearing the footsteps.
I actually stopped and looked on the stage. I'm like, well, who the hell is walking across the stage doing a presentation? And there was nobody there, completely empty, as it was supposed to be.
Right. Pete, I'm going to run the 10:05 since Bob had me starting so late today. That way there will have a somewhat normal length of recording.
I think you already cut off the radio, but you know.
Yeah, I know. I know we have a hard out on the radio, but I'm going to go 5 more minutes if I give you a decent recording.
We had someone walking backstage during intermission tapping on the screen. The screen was down, the movie screen, because we put projections on it.
Yeah.
And somebody was walking along tapping on it, and the stage manager was miffed. She was so mad because they rule it. The stage manager rules the backstage. And she went back there to say, get out of here.
And there was nobody there.
And you can't get off stage left. You've got to walk across the front of the stage. There's no downstairs stage left.
And something that we're going to be looking for this weekend or scrutinizing. Okay, I'm going to give up one thing. That's.
Keep in mind, I don't have the psychic with me this week.
Yeah, shadows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see if we can capture some of them on film.
Yeah. All right. So, how long do we know anything that night, or when we do the session, that will be instantaneous. But with the cameras set up, do we see anything immediately, or do you have to go through and review everything?
I usually do not watch the cameras.
Okay.
Because they become obsessions. And then you sit there and you fixate. And I try not to do that. To be honest with you, I'm running Command Center. Chances are I'm going to be playing on my phone. This way here, I don't. And when you guys come out, I download everything and I go.
Hopefully, I'll have a pool up by then. I can just hang out in the pool because I won't be inside the house.
Yeah. But I do that on purpose because anybody that's in Command Center, you can become really absorbed by it, and I try not to do that.
Speaking of getting absorbed, what happens if a entity really gets excited about us being there. And now you guys have communicated and you've left.
We always, when we leave, we always if we feel that there's something legit there, and I'm speaking generally, not specific to your case, if we feel that there's something legitimately there that we interacted with, we will say goodbye as if we were talking to a person and explain, hey, we're going to come back and talk to you. We're going to give it a couple of weeks, let you recharge, let you get your energy back, and then we'll be back when you can communicate with us safely and conveniently.
Okay.
And this way here, they know it's not like a teaser. You know, we are coming back. We are going to be with you, and we're going to give you an opportunity to say even more. And, you know, we found that it stimulates, and it also gives them something to look forward to. When you have a boring 20 years of life, afterlife, I should say,
right,
and somebody gives you a little light at the end of the tunnel, that little sense of hope means a lot. And a lot of times what we'll do, too, is, and this is based on a client's perspective, is if we feel that the spirit is stuck there, if the client asks us to, we'll try and do a releasing ceremony where we'll just say,
and we asked last time and they weren't interested.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it decides that it wants to move on, now it's not to say, even if he moves on, that he can't come back.
Right.
He can come back and visit you anytime he wants to. So if he's developed an affinity for you as an individual, he may stop in and knock something over just to say hi. Hey, I'm still around. I'm watching over you.
Oh, I think they've been doing things.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're dealing with you're dealing with a person without a body. They still have all the emotions, the mindsets, the thought process, everything. But keep in mind, if they were a jerk in life, they're going to be a jerk in the afterlife.
And some of these newspaper articles may have suggested that.
But I think that he may have mellowed, and again, I'm projecting into this. He may have mellowed by the isolation that he's experienced for a period of time.
Gotcha.
So, because I got nothing when we were there the first time, I got nothing pointing at an attitude or anything negative. So I'll be waiting to see what we get on Saturday. But to answer your previous question, we won't be reviewing the evidence, potential evidence, until the following Wednesday.
Gotcha. Good. So, Bobby Goff, I want to thank you for coming in this morning to, kind of have a little preview into what's going on this weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. Next week, I don't have anything yet. I'm sure I'll come up with something last minute. And then the week after that, I think is the making the list, last one for the summer.
Yeah, next week I won't be here, so it'll be you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I told you that.
Oh, there you go.
Next week?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Thursday, we're going to take you back to the 90s. So we're going to play all 90s music, and God only knows what shenanigans. Oh, and I don't have Lynn. Why don't you come in on Thursday?
Oh, no. I was going to say, apparently I'm already there, but we're talking about Tuesday.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm going to have to go looking through my memos.
Look through your memos.
I don't recall that one. I don't know. All right, that's all I got. I'll see you next week.